It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a weekly podcast where we talk about everything that's great. Like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show where we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris.
And my name is Mike.
And this week we have Cinemacon, and it landed with a Superman preview.
Landed in the snow, and then a dog came and saved it.
Yeah, kind of. Did it, though? Like, did the dog really save it? I feel like if Superman was dead, that dog would have ate him right then and there. Like, just been done. But anyway, we'll talk about it. We get Avengers Doomsday details with that production starting up, and we got some information on that. Spider-Man 4 gets a brand new title. Wink, wink, and more.
Wink, wink. We are rolling. We're coming in hot. Chris and I usually chit-chat for a couple minutes before we get the base rolling, and we're in it. It sounds like we both have things to do on this. It's a beautiful Sunday for me over here.
Lucky son of a bitch. No, we are under.
I think there was literally what tornadoes across the Midwest all week.
Like literally, we have so much rain there are mudslides across the interstates here. Like whole houses are floating down rivers in Kentucky. Like we have like what's it called, a generational amount of rainfall in like 4 days or something like that. So
yeah, I'm getting nervous. There's been a lot of once in a generation things in our generation, and I feel like that term is losing all steam.
You're not from here, but we have this event called Thunder over Louisville, which is like an hour-long fireworks show over the Ohio River, and it kicks off the Kentucky Derby season. And that was scheduled for next week, the 14th. However, due to the rain, or the river coming up to like 36 feet above river level, they had to cancel the whole thing. Like not even delay it. Like they just canceled the whole thing because the water's too high on the river. So we're just just at Mother Nature's mercy over here. But that's it.
We're at the mercy of Mother Nature, the mercy of time. I haven't even had a chance to open up my drink yet. I'm sipping on a hum kombucha raspberry lemonade, so I gotta pop that before we start talking about CinemaCon.
It's true. I also want to give a shout out real fast to superfan Jason. He invited me to a gun range this weekend, and I got to go to a gun range with him and a friend of his, and have lunch and just hang out for several hours, and it was a good time. And he did share the show with a buddy and shared the show with a friend, and so he earned superfan status while I was there. So and not that he didn't have it beforehand, but it was witnessed. It was what's it called, notarized. I notarized it.
Notarized, certified.
Yeah. So thanks for that. We'll get into it's not really a bullet point here, but I want to talk about the passing of Val Kilmer this week. Someone who honestly, grew up with a lot of Val Kilmer movies myself, Mike, and I don't know about you, but was one of the icon to me, the Batman I remember most as a child from Batman Forever, where he played Batman against Jim Carrey's Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face. The one I just remembered the most as a child having access to.
Yeah, it is the epitome of a live action cartoon if any's ever been made.
Yes.
And I poured one out in his honor in my collectible McDonald's Batman Forever tumblers, glasses. I don't really know.
Yeah, they're
lingo.
Mugs. Are they like mugs? I guess because they have the handles on.
It's a small glass with a handle.
Yeah.
But I feel like I've seen a lot of marketing growing up where everything was a tumbler that came out of a fast food joint. But yeah, it's a bummer. Chris, as we age, all of our heroes get even older, and we're just going to get more depressed and jaded.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and honestly, he's had throat cancer since I think 2015, and honestly, he had the last movie he was in was the last Top Gun movie, as a small role. So tragic passing, but he's definitely left an impression on film and the stuff that we kind of grew up watching with that.
That's what we did this week. We mourned the passing of a Hollywood icon of our childhood, while the current children of this generation yearned for the mines, went to the Minecraft movie, which I've only heard awful things about from critics, but literally the best thing in my life from children. So it's such a divisive movie that obviously we weren't really gonna spoiler review it on this show, but like now I kind of want to watch it just out of sheer curiosity.
So I did not know this, that it was Jared Hess who made Napoleon Dynamite who made this movie. Like I thought it was like an actual like big name, like not a big name, but like a tentpole movie maker, not the guy who made Nacho Libre and Napoleon Dynamite. Which
oh my god,
that piqued my interest even more. I'm like, oh, I want to see how zany this thing is.
I saw a video of a dad recounting his experience going to the theater, taking his 7-year-old, and he said that it was the first showing of the day. The theater was just jam-packed full of children, and they treated like every single like reference, meme, call out, phrase that you'd hear in the video game, character that would appear when we were watching Endgame and Captain America picked up Thor's hammer. He said the place was going wild. He just prayed that these children didn't organize because they could have taken over the theater and it would have been
I'd actually
the flies.
I would have enjoyed this to see kind of what they did with their Pixax
like,
popcorn buckets.
Yeah, I mean, I just would have loved to have been in the corner just experiencing and watching it. But wild times in Hollywood all the time.
I will tell you, this is one of the first movies in a very long time that I've seen a work print version of the movie leak online as well. So I've seen a lot of clips that are not cams but work print versions, which is if people aren't familiar with work prints, they're essentially non-finalized versions of the movie they're still working on. So you can find that in places, Mike. Wink, wink. Hint, hint. If you get enough interest. Moving on, let's get into our first thing. CinemaCon is this week. We talked about at the top of the show. I love CinemaCon because this is essentially Comic-Con for movie theaters, essentially, right? Like, they're all the companies are hyping up, hey, here's the movies we got coming, here's the products we're making, so on and so forth. We have a TikTok reel in our links here for a popcorn vendor showcasing ideas. And I'm going to say ideas simply because I should have Mike, because there's a thing. The thing's head is the popcorn bucket, a popcorn bucket for Fantastic Four, because they, obviously will do that. That's a pretty easy one. It's not a person. So I was like, okay, we're taking a look at this. But then I was looking at this guy's booth, and they have like Black Adam and the Flash like torsos without heads as like maybe sippers or popcorn things. I'm like, this is really weird to have these DC characters that have been off the screens for over a year, 2 years now, at a CinemaCon popcorn bucket vendor like this year, right? Like, that's kind of weird that they'd have those characters here.
I like to imagine that it was an aspirational popcorn bucket of, these movies are going to be so popular when the sequels come out. We're going to need popcorn buckets ready to go.
Yeah.
But CinemaCon's always so exciting to me because it's the con I always forget exists. I never know where it happens. I never know when it happens until it is happening. It's like a jump surprise scare of just like surprise new trailer, surprise title reveal, and they usually bring some good stuff. So we got some good stuff to talk about.
Sony's big here. Warner Brothers was here. Marvel was here. Disney. So we can talk about that. But yes, you want to take out some possible popcorn buckets, vessels, whatever, they're here. We'll talk about it. We've got some more later for a movie down in the notes as well. Jumping right into the first movie. This is ironically, I put our show notes into an AI thing today, Mike, because I wanted to say what is the most popular topic from our show notes here. And Superman did not meet the popularity standards of some other shows or movies we're going to talk about, which is funny. But I've heard a lot of people on both sides of the fence talk about the Superman extended preview that was released. It's like a 5-minute thing, kind of to me, Mike, and you talk about, it's like an extended version of the teaser trailer we got, right? Because it opens with Superman crashing in the snow, and then we get a lot of Krypto and the Fortress of Solitude for a little bit. Let's get your opinion on this, because
from my point of view, the littlest thing here is I'm always thrown off when I see something thrown up online with the title sneak peek. I always think like, oh, is this just going to be like a featurette? Is it just going to be the same footage I've seen before with just like clips of people? Oh, this movie's going to be fun. Go buy your tickets. It's going to be great. So I feel like this should have been maybe hyped up a little bit more beyond just it being a sneak peek. Like we got a whole extended scene, like you said, of the film, and then kind of the same stuff we've seen.
Yeah,
from the other
nothing
trailers,
new at
but
the end of it. Yeah,
but with like a few little dribs and drabs there. But this was exciting. This got me hyped. I love the world that James Gunn seems to be building here, where it's like the subject matter seems to be taken seriously in tone, because the second half of the trailer is all of these dramatic, serious shots. But then also he's kind of letting you know, like, oh, there's talking robots in this movie. The Fortress of Solitude springs out of the ground and rotates like a
it's kind of a fractal is what it looks like, a fractal shape when it comes out of there, and then it's like pivots once it's
and
built.
they have like these kind of cartoony magnifying glasses that like amplify the sun to heal Superman, and it's like, okay, this is fun. And this is kind of the vibe I've been getting the last couple seasons from Invincible as well. Obviously take out all of the hyper violence from Invincible, but it's just like, hey audience, this is a world where superheroes exist and have existed. Just you already strip out the idea of like, what is Earth like without superheroes, because this is just how it's always been. So we're not really looking at, like, when we look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe, oh, this is our world, but what if we added superheroes? And they've been here, but now they're coming out of the shadows. Like, I like what Invincible's doing. I like kind of what this Superman sneak peek is showing us. Is just like, we don't have to. Everything's out of the way. I don't need to explain why there's robots here. I don't need to explain why there's like a giant monster breathing fire on Superman down in downtown Metropolis, right? We just get into the fun and the action and the excitement. And I feel like I was able to pull that stuff out of here. Obviously, the most James Gunn sense of humor is like a dog jumping on a broken man who's just fell from the sky, and he's just like, come on. I've never really seen that much kind of like humor and like kind of vulnerability from Superman, so it's kind of fun.
I think the dog thing was annoying to me because I get nothing against dogs, nothing against dogs, but I'm like, I get it, like, it kind of felt like it dragged on a little bit for that part. I'm like, I want to see more of this, like you mentioned the world, right? There's other cool things, like there are clips later on, like, oh, there's that big ball that's being fought in the background of Superman and Lois when they're kissing, and like, you know, the big monster, and, you know, Lex Luthor and some other stuff. I'm like, I want to see some of that. The dog thing is over. To me, is overplayed. Show me something different than the dog in this teaser. Once Krypto got him to the Fortress of Solitude, though, I was more on board. I immediately picked up Alan Tudyk as one of the voices of the robots, because obviously Alan Tudyk does everything these days. So he was one of the robots. It's interesting to say, like, oh, hey, here's a new robot. Where the robots are making more robots and giving them numbers, right? Like, oh, here's a new one, and they're kind of fangirling. So I'm interested to see all that stuff, but I was not sold on the dog thing at all. I was like, this is, to me, it was just beating the horse that we've seen over and over again. I'm like, yes, you did the puppy bowl. The first trailer was the dog thing. The first poster was Superman and Krypto on the moon, and all this other. I'm like, we need more than the dog. Like, this isn't the dog movie, it's the Superman movie. So hopefully we can get something better down the road. I did hear a funny line from this weekend. And this is a bit crude, but like, Superman is cucked in between Jurassic Park 5 and Fantastic 4 in July, and I was like, oh, that's kind of rough for it. But we'll see. Hopefully it's good. I have nothing against the movie. I just wish the marketing was just a hair better for this trailer. On that note, on the flip side, there have been early screening, like people coming online and like sharing, like, I wouldn't say necessarily leaks, but like minor plot points, minor spoilers online as well. So if you are someone who gets superhero stuff or Superman things in your feed, you might start seeing some of these, by the way. So just, Mike, this is your note for your keyword thing for Superman if you want to stay in the dark as long as you
Thank
can.
You. Appreciate it.
Along the way. Yeah, I did read some of the stuff. I'm very interested to see kind of how it plays out throughout. Moving on into Disney, they shared some stuff for Avatar Ash and Fire. I want to say Fire and Ash, but it's Ash and Fire, which is Avatar 3 coming out in December. I've yet to get a trailer. I'm really surprised how long they're holding the trailer on this one. But they did confirm there's 2 groups of Na'vi. I can't pronounce these until I watch the movie, but the Tlalim clan, which are the Windtraders, which are remember we looked at the concept art of the big balloon organic things floating around. And then there's the Mangkwan clan. I'm gonna butcher that one. It's called the Ash people, who've essentially given up on the Na'vi deities because their homeland was covered in lava by a fire or volcano. So I'm excited to see Avatar, Fire and Ash, Ash and Fire, whatever it's called, when it drops in December, Mike.
I'm buying whatever James Cameron is selling me.
Yeah.
So I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, we got till like 2030 when the next like 3 come out after this one. So, but this is like one of the trailers, like thinking about the rest of the year. I'm like, well, there's a couple other movies coming later in the year, like Predator Badlands and a couple other things that they didn't release out of CinemaCon because they don't leak things there because they're industry insiders, not fans, which kind of sucks. So we won't see this stuff. But I would love to see this trailer sooner than later. Maybe in front of what's that Marvel movie coming out? Thunderbolts. Here next month. Last night, I'm reading the thing. Tron Ares dropped a new trailer for the upcoming Tron threequel, and I've got it here in the notes, Mike. I didn't watch it, but like, again, on the show, we say, at least I state, I don't know if you feel as strongly as I do, I don't like Jared Leto. I don't think he's a good actor. I think he's kind of a douchebag. But I don't know him personally, but that's the vibe I get. However, this trailer doesn't really include him much in this, but I really like this trailer. I was digging Tron Ares more than I thought I would along the way.
It looked really cool. I was wondering if they were going to kind of keep the aesthetic from Tron Legacy, if they were going to evolve it in some way, but this really feels more like a sequel to Legacy.
Yeah.
And but I have no stake in this battle at all.
Right.
Everybody looks back on the first Tron very fondly because it was this VFX groundbreaking thing, but it was not a successful film when it came out in theaters. It only grew to be like this classic over time. Yeah. And Tron Legacy also was not super successful. I mean, I feel like it was just successful enough to barely get this third movie going. And
they sold enough soundtrack. They sold enough vinyls to get a sequel to the movie.
I think one of the top comments on YouTube for this trailer that we're talking about when I was watching it was, "Oh, come on, Disney, don't fuck this up." And I was just like, they've fucked up every Tron movie so far, technically. Yeah. So I just thought that was pretty funny. But so there's nowhere to go but up, really. And then also I felt like they kind of let the Nine Inch Nails song score kind of pump and thump a little bit after kind of like the last clip of the trailer to let you know. And this was the first time in a long time I've ever seen a movie trailer highlight the score. Like, that never happens. Right. So at the very least, we know that we're going to get a badass soundtrack out of this.
I think it was really cool. Some of the things, this movie feels like, again, like you said, a sequel to Legacy, but the flip-flop of it, right? Like, in Legacy, Tron and Tron Legacy, it's about real people going into the cyber world, right? The grid. And in this one, it's the grid coming outside. So like the first 30 seconds, a light cycle activates in the real world and splits a cop car in half, which was awesome. And then to see the Recognizer ship, like how like huge and menacing that was, like floating around thing,
coming from around the corner. Yeah. And then the freaking like TIE fighters or whatever they're called, like flank and come around and block those missiles.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is like what Pixels should have been. Like this is like that movie Pixels, but like if it was good. So I'm pretty excited. I love the red aesthetic. You know, Tron Legacy, it was the blue aesthetic. They're very leaning into the red villain program aesthetic here. So I'm excited to see this. It comes out in October 10th later this year. So we'll keep you guys posted. But that to me, it's got my hype going. We're gonna shift gears into Marvel and I guess the video game world, very close to Tron here. So I put it here. Marvel Rivals, the I guess team competitive game that's very similar to Overwatch. If people are familiar with Overwatch, season 1 is wrapping up this week, and season 2 is launched, and it will introduce characters Emma Frost and Ultron, as long as levels based on Krakoa, which I don't know if you're familiar with that from the newer X-Men books, Mike, or not.
It's is this the Hellfire Gala?
A little bit, yeah. So the Hellfire Gala is based on Krakoa, which is a mutant island, which is where all the mutants lived in the comic books until recently. And after this season, the game developers like, we heard what people want. They want more characters. You want more Marvel characters? Hell yeah, we'll give you more characters. So they're going to move to shorter seasons and a character every month, starting with season 3. So I was just reading an article, it's not confirmed, but one of the updated assets in the game, like recently, is Daredevil. They're starting to get Daredevil ready to release in the game when they move to that season 3 model. So for those who are loving Daredevil right now on Disney Plus, guess what? You get to play as him pretty shortly. And the best part about Rivals, I will say this, Mike, I know you've not played it. This game is not for everybody if you're not into like the team-based ability shooters, but all characters are free. You don't pay for characters. They only ask that you pay for the skins. So it's like you can literally play with any character you want as long as you want, as long as you don't care what they look like, for free, which is fantastic for you mentioned, live service games these days.
I was just watching the trailer, man. These gala fits are something else. Like, this is gonna sell skins for sure. Wolverine in his white tuxedo, man.
Yeah, I really enjoy. I think it was Psylocke and Magic get like their classic X-Men outfits from like the 90s or 97, like 95. Yellow and blue stuff. Very, very excited for this game. Again, I play it pretty frequently, but wanted to share that trailer with everybody to see that. Oh, a trailer I wish would leak from CinemaCon is Fantastic Four, Mike. There was a teaser shown, and they essentially. I'm reading to everyone. We are not a visual show. We are a podcast. Reading the description that someone described about the video. So this is a very, he said, she said kind of thing. But the CinemaCon preview features a 60s style talk shows where the Fantastic Four are already popular in their world. Their home life at the Baxter Building, and then it ended with the Silver Surfer Shia LaBeouf version being appeared, and people were apparently head over heels for the Silver Surfer look in this movie.
Oh.
So, which is great. And they also were kind of talking. I think it was a director. Like, in this world, there's no Easter eggs because it's its own universe, and they're like the first superheroes, right? He said, imagine if instead of Buzz Aldrin and who's the other guy that went to the moon the first time?
Neil
Armstrong. Yes, replace them with the Fantastic Four, and that's like they were already popular before they got their powers. They just happen to come back with powers as well. So, very, very excited for this. I do have a little spoiler confirmed for the movie, but it will be in news articles everywhere. But I want to be cognizant of people who may not get all the news articles for Fantastic Four. So for those who may want spoilers, skip to the show notes. But it's minor. This isn't going to affect anything in the long run, Mike. But you may heard we've talked about rumors that Franklin Richards will be in this. They do confirm that Sue Richards is pregnant in this movie, or at least in the teasers they were showing. So
we're going to get a wee little baby.
It is called First Steps, and that is kind of like a double entendre, right? Like,
I honestly never even thought about that, which is hilarious considering my baby just started crawling last week. So it just goes to show how brain dead I am.
Gotta keep her on a leash now, so she doesn't crawl too far away.
But I mean, I'm surprised we have Thunderbolts in less than a month. So that's got to mean that this trailer that we're talking about in some form is going to be in front of Thunderbolts for sure. I can't see why they wouldn't do that, especially if they got it cut and ready to go and they showed it to people. But the question is do they save it for literally the theater-going audience, or does it just drop on like a Tuesday that week, before the Thunderbolts come out on Thursday?
Yeah, I assume it'll probably be earlier if I'm going to be honest, right? Like, because you don't want you want that news cycle to kind of be wrapped up by the time the Thunderbolts reviews start kind of coming in. So we'll see. Also on 4/4, which was Friday, Fantastic Four 4/4 day is a new poster for Fantastic Four. This feels a lot like Tomorrowland at Disney, with I
love it,
the colors and stuff. They're just letting the art team have a free run. Make this feel retro futuristic, and they're like, yeah, we'll do that. So you can check out that blue Fantastic Four trailer there, and then if you want to go even further, Empire online has featured a couple photos of the actors pre-flight before they get their powers. So we get to see Evan Moss Backrack as Ben Grimm, Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards, I'm trying to pick up their names here. They're Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, and then Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm as well, in their suits. And this is also where you can kind of view that art that website with the Neil Armstrong Buzz Aldrin quote.
The tech is really interesting. I don't know if they're tinkering with like retro future batteries, or those are like
cameras a little bit,
or are those like ghost traps or whatever. I don't know what they are, but they're really cool. And even the table fan in the background has this like fun like squircle shape around it. Just the aesthetics of this movie is like so fun. I bet the production design team would just had a ball on this film.
Yeah, it does. It feels like, again, a vision and a voice in a movie from the director. So really, really excited for that to wrap up the summer this year. On the flip side of that, Avengers Doomsday is starting production soon, and there have been some outdoor sets spotted via drone shots. Mike, you sent me one of these as well. I think it's the same photo. It's just a crater, like green grass and like a big old crater, possibly. I don't know if it's volcanic or not. It looks like it kind of erupted out of the ground rather than something impacted.
It doesn't quite look impacted, but who knows? I guess it could theoretically be.
It will be touched up.
My mind went two places. The first one it went is like, when's the last time we saw a crater with kind of something in the middle? And I don't know if that something in the middle is just like somebody left their lunchbox there on set or something. That could be totally innocuous, but it made me think of Thor, because I think the last time we saw a big crater was or an iconic one was in that first Thor movie, and we know he's in this film. We saw his name on the back.
He was
chair.
the first name on the chairs even.
Yeah, exactly. Or I thought, is this kind of like a situation where like Doctor Doom phases in from another universe and it creates like a crater in the ground or something like that?
Well,
but it's cool that it's actually made. I mean, this is obviously very easily done in CG, so I'm glad that they actually built something.
Yeah, if you watch, there's a video there on YouTube that actually shows another crater next to it, so I'm going to probably debunk your Doctor Strange or Doctor Doom thing a little bit, because
two Thors, two Doctor Dooms, they're all over the place.
Yeah, if they do the Thor core from the Secret Wars books, absolutely. But obviously they're building real sets, and actually they did show that they like some of the this is like right next to the Fantastic Four sets some of them are being taken down, but like some of them are still there. So I'm like, are they gonna film like some of the Fantastic Four world being destroyed at the same time right now, because they didn't film it obviously when they were doing Fantastic Four? Like, is that why they left some of those up? So be interesting to see if anyone does make it into the Fantastic Four world and they use any of those sets along the way. At CinemaCon, Kevin Feige has said specifically that the Avengers, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, Wakandans, and original X-Men will fight Doctor Doom. This kind of puts a little shade thrown at my theory that I told you, that the Avengers versus X-Men last week we talked about, right? Like, it doesn't seem like maybe it'll be a versus for the thing, unless they fight a little bit and then they're friends against Doctor Doom, like kind of like how all versus
that's
movies are.
Like what happens in the first Avengers movie, right? That they're all just trying to fight each other, then they come together.
Yeah.
But exciting. This is like it was like a milestone. I sent this picture to you this week, and I was like, is this our first set photo? Didn't this movie just start filming like 20 seconds ago, and there's already like a crater in the ground? Yeah,
exactly. It's very, very, very fun to do that. The other thing, every person who's been in a Marvel movie has been asked, why did you not get a chair last week, Mike? Right? Like, so I've seen so many articles like Haley Atwell and Chris Pratt and like, a bunch of these other people, Elizabeth Olsen, Scarlett Johansson. Everyone's like, where's your chair? Where's your chair? Why didn't you get a chair? And pretty much everyone has been like, the casting for these movies, it's not done being announced. Like, my guess is the first filming schedules are the ones we saw first, right? The people filming immediately. And then either it'll be the back half of the summer for the second announcements, or like, maybe like we talked about Secret Wars casting right along the way. So if you didn't see your favorite Marvel actor's chair in there, they're probably not, and they're still alive, they're probably gonna be in there at some point. Just chill out a little bit. It'll be fine. Mike, did you see the making of featurette for the Thunderbolts that dropped on Friday? as well?
Yeah, I saw a little clip of it, and now I'm kind of just scrubbing through the whole thing. This is really interesting to me. I feel like I have a lot of things to say. It's a very clever, I would say, marketing strategy that we've seen before, like in the Mission Impossible space of things. They do this all the time. And I just love that it seems like somebody over at Marvel Studios was like, why can't we do this for our movies? Like, they've almost not had to ever advertise, their movies in a way. Obviously, a trailer gets cut for the film, right? And then they do, like, TV spots and everything. But this kind of feels like the first time where they're just like, hey, we should remind people that these aren't just superhero movies, that these are just, like, action movies also. Like, so let's like spotlight some of the cool stuff that we're doing behind the scenes.
And to that point, I was like, to that point, this movie is the least amount of superhero movies, right? Like, this is like the most normal group of people that have no powers. They like there's no nanotech suits. There's a little bit of super soldier serum, but like, they're mostly guns and hands, right? With this crowd.
And honestly, I think we're so used to kind of seeing those VFX reels for all of these Marvel films that we kind of just assume like, oh, they're in a studio in Atlanta, Georgia, and everything's being composited around them. The highest they're ever kind of cranked up from the floor is maybe like 15 feet. So, and then I was surprised to open this to see
Florence?
Somebody running, Florence Pugh, like running down the side of a building. I was like, this is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So for people who don't know, this making of shows Florence Pugh jumping off, I think the second highest building in the world, I think. And I don't know. I don't know if she truly base jumped or somebody else base jumped, but she's like, they let her run over the edge and like down some of the building and pulled her back up, right? Like over and over again. So that's really cool for her. It's probably like a 10-second shot in the movie overall, but shows like, obviously, in contrast to COVID era protocols of movies like Quantumania, Thor: Love and Thunder, like this is not shot in these are not being shot in blue screen rooms anymore. They're not doing volumes. They are doing real places, real locations. And as you mentioned, like I said, it's showcasing the stunts. It's showcasing. They're using that. I don't know what that song is that they're using on all the marketing materials, but I freaking love it. Like I need to find it so I can just listen to it regularly. So that's awesome. We also got some popcorn bucket confirmations this weekend. The limo that Red Guardian is driving that we see in the trailers, that is one popcorn bucket. So they're doing the big limo car bucket. Red Guardian helmet over another popcorn bucket with Russian is one, and then what we can see here is a Thunderbolts asterisk sipper that some theater will probably have as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've gone over our ranking list of popcorn buckets and kind of how we put them in categories. The limo has a good shot of being higher up on our category, but I'm just kind of looking at it now, and it looks a little janky. Not like janky as it's been in an explosion of just like what is with this seam coming down the middle? The headlights aren't even like matching. Up. Like, what is this made out of like cardboard? Yeah,
the colors like so. I think this might be might be a prototype, but these are probably more locked in than anybody else's kind of going forward. And I honestly thought it was CGI because like the words under Red Guardian looked a little rough. As well, like our AI generated, but I do think it might just be Russian stuff. But like,
now I can't really tell the scale based on here, but if that Red Guardian helmet could actually theoretically fit over somebody's head, then that's exciting. Doesn't have to be an adult. It's fine if it's a kid, but it needs to go on somebody's. It needs to go on somebody's head. That's the point of making it.
Might be a cat or a small dog. Well, I'm looking at the straw as the basis to the left. So maybe a small child for that, but like this is pretty. This is fine. I'm down with this over some other stuff. Like I thought they'd be pretty simple, but like biased. Where's my Sentry stuff? Where's my Sentry sippers? Like come on now. Like this is like my one chance to get his stuff in the theater. Even though he's going to be in Doomsday, I'm pretty excited for that. But you can check out that link and see what those look like. Mike, we also had a few Marvel Legends character official releases. The toys, right? I wouldn't say the high end toys. Legends are like $20 to $30 in stores, right? And they showcase Bob's outfit from the movie, if you will. So we got our first, I guess, official look at Bob's superhero outfit that he will get in the upcoming movie. And I, as someone who collects, Sentry characters as well, will be adding this to my collection. Down the road.
I'm looking forward to see if you pull the trigger on the eventual
Hot
sideshow
Toys?
collectible,
Yeah.
like the $300 one. That's like the costume's actual fabric.
Yeah.
I'm curious if they'll give him actual hair, because
Yeah.
there's kind of like it feels like there's a separate meeting that happens with all of the sideshow collectible figures of just like, okay, when the hair gets to a certain length, it can't just be molded plastic anymore. It's got to be real, like strands. So I'm curious if Bob is gonna get the real strands.
Yeah, I'm excited. I was talking to that super fan Jason. He is my Hot Toys guy. He knows, he is very familiar, lives in that world very, very well. And I was like, yeah, I'm interested to see what it does. Like, what kind of outfits and what it looks like along the way. So if that comes up, I'll be sure to bring that back for everybody to listen to. Mike, we are in the final 2 weeks of Daredevil, right? Is it 9 episodes? 8 or 9? 8 or 9. I'm pretty sure it's 9, right? And 8 is this week. But obviously Vincent D'Onofrio was out, and he confirmed something that, I don't know if anyone's really asking, but that Daredevil, or that Marvel can only use Kingpin as a Daredevil villain and on television shows such as Hawkeye, but he cannot be used in Marvel's movies because Spider-Man belongs to Sony. However, I'm going to put an asterisk here, like the Thunderbolts. Sony's already doing the Spider-Man movies in conjunction with Marvel, so I don't really think that would like lock him out. I'd be like, if Marvel's like, hey, we have an idea for Daredevil and Spider-Man, or not Daredevil, Kingpin and Spider-Man, Sony would be like, yeah, make us $1 billion, please. Right? Like,
it's so funny. Like, D'Onofrio has been so defining for the character of Kingpin to me, even though I grew up watching him in the 90s Spider-Man TV show, and he was obviously visually very striking in the first Spider-Verse movie, that I just kind of assume he was a Daredevil character, even though I know he originated from a Spider-Man comic book, but he's just so he's so just like the other side of the coin with Daredevil that I'm just like, wait, yeah, why can't he be in the movies? But then I did think it was funny because I saw the article too that D'Onofrio kind of reflected on the fact that we're not going to get a standalone Kingpin movie, and I just kind of chuckled, like there was never going to be a standalone Kingpin movie, and if it was going to be in the same vein of like Morbius and Craven. Like you weren't going to like that movie, and it would have been bad for you. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Actors kind of get in their head of just like, yeah, no, this character definitely would be a feature film if it wasn't for the lawyers.
I also wouldn't say that. I also would say like a lot of them are like, hey, if no one's saying the idea, I'm just gonna put it out there, right? Like self-fulfilling prophecy. Like yeah, we should totally do a movie about my one character. I feel like the guy who played Crossbones and is in the DC world. Frank Grillo would be the guy. I'd be like, yeah, Crossbones needs his own movie. He strikes me as someone who'd be out there telling people that in that situation. But yeah, so hopefully, I think they would find a way to make Kingpin. I keep saying Daredevil. Kingpin and Daredevil work in Spider-Man if Marvel wanted to. I don't think Sony would be like, no, you can't use them in the movie that we're technically owning that you're making for us. So, but like I said, I don't think he'd be. I agree with you. Not a solo film. Some confirmation, John Bernthal has confirmed that he is co-writing the upcoming Punisher special presentation for Marvel Television. He says, obviously Frank Castle, the Punisher, is in his bones. He's been the character for, 9 years now, going on 9 years. He does a great version of it, right? Daredevil, he's, the new one, he just kind of slotted back in. Very excited to see this thing. Along the way, is there any other Netflix characters kind of like the Punisher that you would want to see turned into a special presentation, Mike? Is what I was going to ask you.
I mean, I say it every time. My favorite part of the Defenders, if you discount Daredevil, is
Sigourney Weaver.
Luke Cage.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, Luke Cage.
But also, and this is going to sound bad because I can't recall her name, but the only good part of Iron Fist, what was his friend's name?
Oh,
with the sword.
Colleen Wing. Colleen Wing.
Yeah, she was great too.
I think
I'm curious what Disney's going to do with these kind of Defenders that we've yet to see.
I think Kristen Ritter, Jessica Jones will be in next season of Daredevil. I would love a Heroes for Hire special presentation where you get to catch Luke Cage and Danny Rand together. It's like a one case kind of mission, and they get both use their powers to take on maybe like a underground crime syndicate, like in a special presentation, right? Like maybe something like The Raid, like it's in one building and they both have to get through the building to get to the boss. And I would love to see them use their abilities in that situation. So I'd probably even watch a Heroes for Hire short, but they're not doing the mini shows anymore. They're looking for long-term TV shows over there. But yeah. So anyone excited for the Punisher? It's coming up, and they'll be writing it along the way. Moving on, Sony, we're going to stay in Sony's world for a little bit. Spider-Man 4. At CinemaCon, they gave us the official title for Spider-Man 4, Mike, and it is called Spider-Man Brand New Day. And we even got a logo treatment. And first thing I did was strip the Spider-Man logo down a bit, Mike, for this. But I'm gonna talk about a little bit the title Brand New Day. Are you familiar with the comic book Brand New Day at all? If I said, hey, Brand New Day, does that ring a bell?
Unfamiliar. I didn't even know that this was based on a comic book title.
Yes. So there was a comic book in the late 2000s, late aughts called One More Day. Are you familiar with Spider-Man One More Day?
No.
So that's a one where Aunt May is shot by a sniper. Spider-Man makes a deal with the devil, Mephisto, to give up his so everyone can forget he's Spider-Man. Aunt May doesn't die, but he has to give up his marriage to Mary Jane Watson. Like, a lot of people like up in arms over this storyline in like the 2000s. They were like, Marvel hates Spider-Man. They want him to be miserable forever. So once One More Day was over and all that controversy was out of the way, they got a new writer, new teams. Brand New Day was essentially the pickup after that, where nobody remembers Peter Parker as Spider-Man, a lot like No Way Home. And he's like, his girlfriend's Mary Jane Watson, but the status quo is kind of back to original Spider-Man, right? Like the one that we grew up with in the animated show. Mm-hmm. So one of the things is like a lot of characters like from the Spider-Man video game, Mr. Negative was introduced in this new arc. A bunch of other like side characters. Harry Osborn was brought back to life after being dead in the comic books for several years. So, it feels like Brand New Day is kind of setting up a little bit of like, Peter, how's he going to carry a job? Nobody knows who he is. He has no family really anymore. And I think they're going to lean into that a little bit. Does that kind of make sense to how they're going to be doing
I mean, I'm just kind of blown away because I didn't even know that this subtitle was based on something pre-existing. I thought they were doing something along the lines of the previous trilogy where they were just throwing like homecoming and all of these home phrases. So I thought that's what they were doing here, and I was trying to analyze, going like, okay, what are they going to continue with the next movie? Is it going to be new? Is it going to be day? Is it going to be brand? Brand's kind of weird. I don't know how that's going to continue all the way through. Yeah. So maybe they'll surprise us all and just kind of like ditch the subtitling.
The connections. Yeah, the connections between the subtitling. And then I went back to the logo. So the Spider-Man logo actually gets rid of the like Iron Man inspired Spider-Man logo, like the very technical one, and goes for the slider curve one. And I sent Mike an evolution of the Spider-Man logo in the comic books over the past, since his inception. And this is the logo they've used since 2004 in the comic book. So to me, that's interesting that they've kind of foregone the newer, like he's a tech inspired suit. It feels like he's going to be more maybe a classic Spider-Man kind of going into this. Mike, is that the vibe you're getting to based on that?
I mean, I feel like that was the whole kind of impetus at the end of the last film of like, almost like that trilogy we just watched was almost an introduction to the character until we bring him back to his roots of just being a broke guy in Manhattan with superpowers. I mean, if I had to comment on the logo, you could have fooled me and said this was the title of a new animated Spider-Man show, like on Disney XD or something. It just feels everything's a lot more rounder and friendlier, and it just, like you said, it feels less aggressive. This isn't a bad thing, but it just kind of goes to show you, like, we're kicking a new era of Spider-Man off.
Yeah, we're not carrying the baggage really of like Iron Man, right? The legacy of Iron Man going forward. So that's what I'm hoping for. In a surprising turn of fates, the synopsis for this movie and title were actually revealed in a filing or a document back in October of 2024. And I feel like we might have covered this as like a theory, but like maybe not. But it is, if you go back, Spider-Man 4 feature film. It's got all the people listed here from October 17th, 2024. The writers, the directors, everybody involved, and the title Spider-Man Brand New Day. So I'm just going to read this off here real fast. So following the events of Doomsday, Peter Parker is determined to lead a normal life and focus on college, stepping back from his responsibilities as Spider-Man. However, peace is short-lived when a deadly new threat emerges, endangering his friends and forcing Peter to reconsider his promise. With stakes higher than ever, Peter reluctantly returns to his Spider-Man identity and finds himself teaming up with an unlikely ally to protect those he loves. They are mentioning Andrew Garfield, Michael Keaton, and Robert Downey Jr. to join the cast. However, I don't think maybe that casting is proper. But the fact they had a.k.a. Spider-Man Brand New Day in a little synopsis was wild for everybody to kind of miss right on this one throughout that.
Well, also, it's hard to sift through what was real last week with April Fool's Day, but I saw a headline that mentioned Charlie Cox. Daredevil was possibly going to be in the Spider-Man movie, so that could be the unlikely ally.
Yeah, he was in No Way Home.
If that wasn't just like absolutely totally fake. But that would be fun. Two very, I would say,
New York-based heroes.
On par heroes. I mean, Spider-Man's got the superhuman strength, so Daredevil's got to be a little bit more cautious, but Daredevil has the experience,
Yeah. Well, and also like his ability, the other enhanced senses, right? That have paid off a little bit. He can handle himself in a fight, and throw Spider-Man in there be really cool to see some of that. Also, confirmation Zendaya is confirmed to return, despite casting Sadie Sink as, the rumored Mary Jane Watson. The other Mary Jane, or MJ, if you will, Michelle Jones is coming back as well. So it looks like they will be taking some of the old cast and some of the new cast kind of going forward as well. I'm excited for Spider-Man, Mike. They're not going to be filming it until after, or at least till Doomsday is probably mostly done. I do know Tom Holland and Zendaya are both in that Christopher Nolan movie that's filming right now, the Odyssey. So they need to get that off their schedule beforehand. But Spider-Man Brand New Day, very exciting. I've also updated this on our upcoming releases page, so all the titles have been updated along the way. Not last bit of news here. Another Spider-Man surprise dropped on us by Sony is Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse, Mike. Officially, the third Spider-Verse. They stopped talking about it after they didn't meet that release date like a year ago. And we were like, where is it? What's happening? We've had a lot of rumors. But the new release date for Beyond the Spider-Verse is updated for June 4th, 2027. So we are just a little over 2 years away, and we got some first images from the upcoming threequel, including what has been described as a new animation style implemented for Prowler Miles, who was introduced at the end of the last movie. And so we get to see some of the art here. Miles, I love the Prowler colors on Miles' outfit, right? Like it's so stark, so contrasty. You get to see again, it's like his art style is like, what would you say, like shadowy noir, like white on black a little bit maybe.
It's almost kind of it's almost cyberpunky in a way, with these neon colors glistening off him, but then there's this grit that just envelops the character. It's intense and menacing, which I think is exactly what they're going for.
It feels like, what's it take when you take the end of your paintbrush and sprinkle white dots over things? Like it's got that hey, we added some extra texture to it. So we get to see that. We get to see him versus against Miles in another room. You get to see the contrasting art styles, and I love it. We get to see Miles in his suit in another kind of, I guess, kinetic scene later on, and then obviously the reconnection of Spider-Man and Spider-Gwen in one of these images as well. I'm excited. This is hype, true hype level here.
Yeah, it's kind of funny seeing the release date of being 2027. Absolutely wild that they ever thought that original release date of what, 2024, I think.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, last
was going to happen. But this is almost kind of like when you hear like a video game's been pushed back, like, oh, this is good because they're not trying to rush it. They're trying to make sure it looks great. It's perfect. They are crafting this. This is something that needs to be beautiful. Also, I'm starting to get vibes since the rest of these superhero movies have shifted also into like multiversal stories. This almost kind of feels like when you're reading like a main event in a comic book world, and then you have like your side character that has their own side adventure going along parallel. So it kind of feels like what's happening here. Like Spider-Verse is like that side story that everyone recommends that you read. You know, they're like, oh, well, you gotta read Civil War, but also make sure that you read Spider-Man's version of Civil War because it's not required reading, but man, is it really, really good.
And this
is great.
This is like also a multiverse I'm not tired of because it's like 3 movies in a multiverse, right? Rather than hey, you got to watch 18 other Spider-Man movies. Like, just watch these 3. They talk about a multiverse, but you get to be, you know, Leo DiCaprio from the movie and point at the screen when you see something you love.
Yeah.
So, but it's fun to see Prowler Miles and see this and get a release date. So, I'm very, 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 very excited for this. Also, they did confirm that the movie picks up from Across the Spider-Verse with Miles on the Run from all the multiversal Spider-Men, minus the team that Spider-Gwen made up. So I'm excited to see what other worlds they come across in this movie in 2 years. Lastly, I know we're kind of speed reading through this, but the Star Wars Tales of the Underworld dropped a surprise announcement trailer. So we've had Tales of the Jedi, Tales of the Sith, I think was the other one, right? Or Tales of the Dark Side, maybe. And then this is the third one. I didn't know they were making another one, Tales of the Underworld, featuring 2 of my favorite characters from the Clone Wars, Cad Bane and Asajj Ventress. So you get 6 episodes, 3 for Cad Bane and 3 for Asajj Ventress, dropping on May 4th, obviously Star Wars Day, on Disney+. I love, again, like I said, you know, even though the live action version is a little different for Book of Boba Fett, but Cad Bane in the Clone Wars is a huge badass bounty hunter throughout the way. A lot of skills, a lot of cool stuff. And then seeing Asajj Ventress, you know, post Clone Wars after she's more of a bounty hunter as well. Very, very excited to revisit this, Mike. 'Cause this, I didn't expect this. Any thoughts on this one here?
I feel like this is past the level of Star Wars that I can comprehend in a way of where, you know, I lost the thread a long time ago in this galaxy far, far away. And this one is like, I remember Asajj Ventress. She was kind of like a standout villain in the Clone Wars series. And then, like, I don't remember if she died. Obviously, she didn't because she's alive right here in this series. Yeah. I forget what timeline we're in here.
These don't have a timeline. These are just like Cad Bane from like it shows his childhood and like middle and then like whoever crossed him as a kid is who he's going to be fighting. Like he was your best friend, so they're
seems like every time I'm watching something that takes place, I guess technically in the past of Star Wars, I'm always like, is this person dead? When did they die? I was like, didn't Cad Bane die? And I was like, well, yeah, he was shot by Timothy Oliphant, but I guess he might not be dead since he's an alien and everyone can come back to life. But yeah, this one sailed over my head. But when I saw it, I was like, oh, I think Chris will be excited for this.
Very, very much. Like, this is Clone Wars era. And like I said, they're anthology stories. They're just focusing on the characters. Like, the timeline to me, I don't care when this is set. And I honestly don't know when it's set. But it's like we're going to see, obviously, they're turning a lot of these characters into sympathetic villains, it looks like, for that. But Asajj Ventress, we already know her backstory. We already did her story. She showed up first in, what was that? The cartoon Clone Wars. Done by the guy who did Samurai Jack.
Genndy Tartakovsky.
Yes, she showed up in her Clone Wars, and like that's not canon because she was kind of killed in there by Anakin. But it's exciting to see her with the yellow lightsaber, being a Force user. Looks like she's maybe taking an apprentice as well to showcase it. So I'm excited to watch this. Like I said, they're up to 50. The longest they are, they're like 15 minutes, and this is obviously probably still like a passion project for Dave Filoni, right? The Clone Wars generator and the characters he's kind of put in there and nurtured along the way. So I'm very excited. May the 4th, obviously, Andor will be wrapping up near that as well. It starts dropping this month in a couple weeks. So we're going to be, I think, getting a boost of Star Wars news in through May next month, Mike, with that. Anything else for the news? We kind of ran through it this week. Like I said, it's we're Sunday. I've got trying to get some stuff done for the week. But anything else you want to add before we wrap up the show? If not, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, they can read my webcomics at liferewardsrisk.com and pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, VALDAN, or Video Game Systems of the same thing if you're checking out Marvel Rivals when it drops on Friday. If people want to know more about the show, where they can get released episodes, find out all these release dates and titles that we've talked about, and anything else, where can they get all them goodies at?
Yeah, just head on over to superheroslate.com. Best place to find all the avenues we host our show. And to get our kick-ass show notes, we're on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you're listening to podcasts, we're there. Superheroslate.com/store if you want to get any merch. We love hearing from you. We love it when you reach out. Let us know what you're playing, what you're watching, what you're reading. And if you want to be a super fan of the show, it's oh so easy to do. Just share the show with a friend. Share the show with a buddy, and we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll see you next week.
Bye.